All right, everybody. You know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up right now. And welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons. And we thank God for those of you who are joining us here on multiple platforms. Appreciate those of you who are watching also on the replay, because some of you guys got to check us out after the fact, and we appreciate you. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember to follow us on social media. You can follow me personally, Minister J. Sim, or you can follow the show, Real Talk Sports 7. You'll probably see a lot of me too, because I'm kind of running around trying to spread the love and get out there and cover as many events as I can. So anyway, like I said again, Real Talk Sports number 7. We would love to have you join us and check us out. Please, please, please do so. Well, a couple of questions come up today. We are heading very, very quickly to draft time. It'll be the draft tomorrow, and right here in the ATL, the Atlanta Hawks, for the first time in their history, have the first pick in the draft. And of course, as is the want for things in Atlanta that go on, the 1 year Hawks actually get the number one overall pick. This is considered to be one of the weakest draft picks or choices in the last 10 to 20 years, with no real clear consensus for who should be the number one pick. Yeah, typical. And not only that, more typical, there's been rumblings around that the player that many people consider to be a potential number one pick has no interest to playing with the Hawks. As a matter of fact, what happened was is it's not like Atlanta. What had happened was is that he did not even do any tryouts for the Hawks at all. So we're going to ask that question: does he want to play here? And if so, if he doesn't want to play here, do you want him to play here? Do you want him to even come here? And then, of course, the other thing we want to talk about is the women of the WNBA. A lot of excitement going on with the women in the WNBA. They are trending up, and so the question is, how do they keep it going? Because right now they are setting new records for attendance, new records for viewership each and every week. But the question is, how do they keep that going? How do they keep that, week in, week out, keeping the fans engaged, getting the people out there? How does WNBA do it? WNBA do it. I'll speak English eventually. And of course, to talk about that, she's going to be back. The lovely Miss Tree Dolman, a young lady who knows and has friends who not only have played, but they were part of that early genesis in the 90s that we really kind of got our sensibility of some of these top women's players. And I really think sometimes that, it's funny, man, we live in a vacuum. Like, people just seem to forget that there were outstanding players in the WNBA before this. But nevertheless, like I said, NBA is much CTV. Matter of fact, think about it. We're talking about it. I mean, everywhere you look, everywhere you go, all sports shows, whether they're really covering women's sports or not, are talking about the WNBA. Why? Because Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and all of this new crop of players have created a buzz. But like I said again, the thing about momentum is you got to keep it up. It has to be something where people continue to come back and people continue to come out and check them out. So hopefully that'll be the case for the women. But like I said, right now it is hot, 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 hot. Must see TV everywhere you go. And to be very candid, like I said, I'll talk to Tree about this when she comes on. But every place where, of course, Caitlin Clark has went, that has been the big talk. Matter of fact, they have moved games from the traditional stadiums where the WNBA teams play to larger stadiums. But like I said, I'll wait till Tree comes on. We'll talk about that and get into it. Let's talk a little bit about this whole concept of Alex Saar. Is Alex Saar coming to Atlanta? Does he want to come to Atlanta? Do we care in Atlanta? Does he want to come here or not? All these questions and more coming up. Yeah, so Alex Saar is a guy that many people have rated to be a top pick overall, a guy that should be the number one pick. But I tell you, it's interesting. I've read some other pundits that said, not so fast, my friend. Maybe, in fact, he's a top 3 pick, but maybe not the number 1 pick overall. Maybe that should go to Lisa Shea, 6'8" swingman, a guy who said has the potential to be the next. I can't pronounce the guy's name. They just call him SGA from Oklahoma City. Guy who was, I believe, led the league this year in scoring, and a guy that was ranking very, very high on the MVP ballots for this year. They think that he could be that type of player. They think maybe he should be number 1. But interestingly enough, when I pulled up the try to get some information about the NBA draft, there was an article by, I think it was from the Atlantic, and that guy was like, "Hey man, I don't like any of these guys as far as being top players." And he was like, "No, no, and no." As a matter of fact, he had um, Alex Saar down, I think, at around 5 or 6, and said this guy is not worthy of a number 1 or lottery pick. Yeah, this was John Hallinger, and you can find him on the Athletic. But yeah, his first 5 picks, um, his first 5 picks didn't, like I said, didn't have this guy. So I don't know, man. It's just really interesting how all this is going to pan out. But one thing that everybody's talking about is a consensus that this draft is weak, and there's no real standout player that says, "Hey." Unlike in years past when we had Anthony Edwards or when they had Victor Wembanyama, or even to some degree, and of course, neither one of these guys were number 1 picks. But I mean, Trae Young and Luka both were considerably higher than any of these guys that we're seeing right now. And so now the question is, should the Hawks trade down? Should they take the number 1 pick, trade it, and get other picks? Especially since a lot of guys are saying that this draft is not that great anyway. Are you going to get a player that can impact you as much at a lower ranking, like at 8 or at 4, or maybe get 2 or 3 players that could really impact you? That's the big question. But like I said, again, let's take a look here at this article from The Athletic, and it is written by John Hollinger. These are his top 75 prospects. And like I said, again, he does not have Richard Shea, not Richard Shea, he does not have Alex Saar in his top 3, which is really crazy. He is not in there. And actually, I can't read it now because they got the what you call the paywall. So it's like if I don't want to pay him, it's like I can't read the article. But anyway, the bottom line is he doesn't rank him very high, and a lot of people are concerned that he's skinny. His hands are not that good, and at the end of the day, many people are wondering, can he really be an immediate impact in the NBA? Now, people are thinking that he can be a potential long-term impact player, but as far as like a guy that can come in and change your team right away, a lot of people are not seeing that. And so the question is for the Hawks. Yeah, it's really crazy when you're trying to cover a team and it seems like the team almost has no plan. You look at a situation where, like I said, just 3 years ago, this team looked like it was 1 or 2 players away from an NBA title, or at least playing for an NBA title. And I hate to be redundant, but you guys all remember. You remember the whole thing with the run to the playoffs, and then upset after upset, and then found themselves in the Eastern Conference Finals, end up losing to the eventual champion Milwaukee Bucks. But had Trae not gotten injured, I mean, the Hawks lost 4 games to 2. But who knows? They could have pushed to the 7th game and might even snuck out and upset them. We just don't know. And we're all thinking, all right, all you have to do is tweak this team and voila, it'll be off to the races. But unfortunately, what we forget in sports is that each year is different. And that Hawks team had just the right blend of veteran players, just the right amount of Euros, just the right amount of new and burgeoning stars, and our own kind of core group of players with Kevin Huter and John Collins and Trey Young. And all that mixed together with a coach that came in late in Coach Nate, a guy who had experience, a guy that had played for an NBA title, a guy that played with Hall of Famers, a guy in Nate McMillan who was already had been a coach and won approximately 500 games in the NBA. Had a winning record. So everybody's thinking everything's good. Trey's talking about how much he respects Nate. So you were thinking everything was good, but suddenly everything seemed to implode. John Collins, there seemed to be some discontent there. Coach Nate, I don't know whether he changed his coaching style, but all of a sudden Trey and other players maybe begin to tune him out. And the other thing that really kind of hurt them is a guy that they picked up in that package deal when they took Trey instead of Luka Doncic, a guy that they thought was going to be a long-term performer, turned out to be a locker room cancer to some degree. And again, this is what I'm hearing, Cam Reddish. I know you guys would say kind of redundant, but I'm just kind of bring people up to speed to where the Hawks are right now as we're going into this draft. This is a team where they decide to give up a bunch of draft picks to bring in a two guard to match up with Trey. Now, don't be wrong, DeJounte Murray, he's him. He got that dog in him. The guy is an outstanding player. I really think an all-star in his own right. Great defensive player, probably one of the best defensive players in the league at that position. But for some reason, Trey and DeJounte did not seem to mesh. Now, again, a lot of people say both guys are ball dominant. They both have to have the ball. I get all that. But, I mean, we've seen stellar backcourts before. We saw John Wall and Bradley Beal, right? This is nothing new. We've seen countless numbers of backcourts that seem to do very well, even though the skill sets were somewhat similar. Now, of course, in the case of a healthy John Wall and Bradley Beal in their youth, I mean, John Wall was just a guy that was almost unstoppable at times. Blazing speed, great hops, could hurt you from anywhere on the court. Bradley Beal, just a nonstop scoring machine to some degree. But still, these guys basically both need the ball, both like to score, and somehow the Washington Wizards made it work. And so you look at this, they gave away. What do the Hawks need? People talk about all the time. They need good shooters. Well, they gave away Kevin Huter and basically got nothing. They got scraps. And we found out later it's a salary dump. And you guys heard me say this many, many times before. I've had a chance to meet Tony Ressler, talk to him. He seems like a very nice man. But I got to tell you, he has really, really, really messed this team up with the decisions he's made at the executive level. And the biggest thing was the whole thing with Travis Schlenk. Why would you get rid of a guy that you brought in because of what his championship pedigree? A guy that had learned under late Jerry West, a guy that had been part of building the mini dynasty of the Golden State Warriors. And a guy who had made some very shrewd trades and got you, like I said again, to the Eastern Conference Finals. Got you to the playoffs, I think, all 3 years he was here. I mean, I don't get it. Just bad management. Let's go to social media here. Let's take a peek. And we got Morris Shields. He said Trey did not want to run off screens. Yeah, I get all that. That's what a lot of people are saying. I don't know whether that's a coaching issue, whether that's just Trey being disobedient. I've talked to people who played, and they have told me, hey, listen, once a player starts one way in terms of his skill sets, in terms of what he does, that player is not going to change. I kind of go for that, but then maybe not so much, because all great players who have been great have had deficiencies in their game. The great Michael Jordan, if you remember when he first came in the league, people questioned his jump shot. What did he do? He took 800 jump shots a day. And by the time we saw him in the finals, some 7 or 8 years later against the Portland Trailblazers, the guy launched in an NBA Finals, hit, I think, 5 threes in a row to open up a game. It can be done. And I don't know what I say, if it's a Trey issue or coaching issue, but the bottom line is that great players, in order to win championships, make adjustments to their game to win championships. Now, like I said, if Trey if he doesn't want to do that, then maybe do have a problem. All I know is this: you better get something in return because, like I said, this guy, since he's come here, like him or not, say what you want about ball hog, to say you want about not lifting the team up to maybe where it could be. The bottom line is that there's a guy that's won the All-Star team 3 of the 6 years that he's played. Okay, and he has led the league in total assists twice. So I'm just saying, you better get something in return that's going to get you that type of level of impact. Okay, so think about that for a second. Well, think about this. You don't want to go anywhere because we're going to take a quick little break and then we'll come back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show, broadcasting to you everywhere. We'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a moment. Don't go anywhere, please. Thank you, and thank you. Stay tuned.
Against us, and that certainly helps.
All right, guys, here's some luxury for less. This is a 2023 Lincoln Aviator, certified pre-owned. It is ready to rock and roll, fully equipped, fully loaded. Only $58,188. And good news, as a certified pre-owned, it has a 100,000-mile warranty and low financing is available. Give me a call, 678-364-3979. That's, again, 678-364-3979. This loaded Lincoln Aviator with only 8,000 miles on it, certified pre-owned, $58,188 with a 100,000-mile warranty. Call me right now.
Looking for a vehicle? Come to Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We're a family-owned dealership that's been serving the Atlanta area for over 40 years, offering an unbeatable selection of new Fords, Lincolns, and pre-owned vehicles. Enjoy our exceptional customer service and great financing options tailored just for you. Visit us at 6790 Mount Zion Boulevard in Morrow, Georgia, located just 20 minutes from downtown Atlanta. Call us at 678-364-3979 or visit online at allenvigilford.net.
Coming up next, it's the Real Talk Sports Show, bringing you great sports talk with perspective. Now, here's our host, Jonathan Simmons.
Back here on the Real Talk Sports Show, it's yours truly, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, talking to you about right now basketball. Let's go back to social media. We have another comment here by Morris Shields. He said, maybe it's time to give Jalen Johnson the keys. Yeah, so in the case of Jalen Johnson, when he's not injured, we've seen that he's going to be the next big thing. Here's a guy I think could be a potential, 20-point, 8-9 rebound, 4-5 assist a game guy. No doubt about it. He is a player who has grown in leaps and bounds in the last couple of years. Over the rim, spectacular guy. Get him on the break, dunks on anybody, doesn't care. Able to get his own shot off the dribble. Has developed into a pretty good three-point shooter. Question is for Jalen Johnson, as you've seen, he's had problems staying healthy. He's been injured multiple times in his short career here in Atlanta, and you begin to wonder, especially when you talk about leg injuries, is it going to start to diminish his leaping skills and some of his other abilities? We hope not, because like I said, this guy, you hit it on the head, Morris, he is an impact player, and he's a guy that can really, I think, be pivotal. You can speak English. Pivotal in terms of the Hawks' opportunities to continue to advance in the NBA playoffs. So, no question. Yeah, Jalen Johnson is a guy. I mean, it's hard to give a guy the keys when they're not like, the point guard or something like that. But I do think that you're going to see him get a lot more touches. And again, the big thing, he has to remain healthy. He's got to remain healthy. If he can do that, I think that, yes, Jalen Johnson can be part of that hub of scoring that we need. Because let's face it, when he was playing, the Hawks really were kind of a different team. Because now you had a guy that kind of reminds me of a John Collins with the ability to make his own shot. What do I mean by that? A guy that any time with a big dunk or a big block or a sweeping play off the wing can now energize your whole team and get some momentum going that can lead you to victory. We saw that multiple times. So, yeah, Jalen Johnson, a big key to this team. The other thing, too, is, I don't know, maybe I'm stubborn, maybe because I'm thinking once you spent all the capital in terms of draft capital and in terms of pay that you just got to kind of ride things out. I know it's been 2 years. People say, man, 2 years is enough experiment for us. But I just think that this Trey and DeJounte thing can work. And I don't know, maybe there's Trey being tweaked a little more to say, look, man, you're going to have to kind of move without the ball a little bit. Even though that's not your thing, you're going to have to find a way to do it. I'm not sure what the story is. Maybe if they do get a legitimate big man that can play some additional defense, that's it. Because here's the weird thing. With Trey and their offense is just almost unstoppable. I mean, they run up, they were in the top 5 in the league. The problem is with Trey is they're also one of the worst defensive teams in the league. So the question has been here in Atlanta, how do you combine the two? How do you get the scoring punch that Trae Young has proven he does? They score more points when he plays and not lose all of the defensive capability that they have when he doesn't see as many minutes. Even though I will say, and I did say it to Trae's face, that he was playing much better defense. Matter of fact, I think last year he played the best defense of his life. He averaged over a steal a game. He was very, very good in the passing lanes. At 6'1", I think maybe 175, 80 pounds soaking wet. That's not going to be a ball defender. You're not going to just get that out of him because he's too small. So if you're looking for that, forget it. But with his quickness and with his increased ability to understand passing lanes and to begin to predict more accurately which direction the player is going, Trey can improve defensively, and he can be a guy that becomes, at best, a wash and not a liability. Seriously, I really do believe that. I believe that it's just, like I said again, because small players are in the league, and small players have thrived in the league and done very, very well. And I go back to the same thing. Numbers don't lie. I know people talking about empty stats. Look, Trey's put up huge numbers. Yeah, at one point he was a 25-10 guy. And how many guys in the NBA right now are averaging, mid-20s in points and giving you double digits almost a game in rebounding, except the guy that they kind of worked the deal out for, Luka Doncic. Short list. So that's what I'm saying. We need to be careful and not throw out the baby with the bathwater. Should they do things to improve this team? They should. Should we be in a situation for that Trey maybe tries to do what he can to kind of change his game a little bit to improve the outcome of this team? Absolutely. At some point, though, it has to click. I don't know what it is, but at some point, it's got to click. And the other thing, too, is as Atlanta fans, we got to stop being delusional. Okay? I mean, it's crazy how we here in the Atlanta metro area, it's like every time any of our teams get on a hot run, we're always thinking we're this point away from a championship. Look, we all want to win chips. Every sports team, professional sports team, their goal, even you're not professional, your goal is to win the chip and win it all. Be the last man standing. We get it. But the thing is that only one team gets to do that. And it's very, very hard to put together a championship team. You can't, it's not plug and play, guys. And even if you do put those pieces together, look at the Boston Celtics. They have 2 guys on their team and possibly a third that in any year could be considered an MVP candidate. They've had those guys together for at least 4 years. And finally, after getting to the finals, 2 of the last 3 years, 3 of the last 4 years, I think, they finally won. Or 2 of the last 3 years. They won. But it took them multiple attempts. It took them getting knocked out in the playoffs earlier than people expected. They had to endure battling the Hawks down to the wire, both in the regular season and in postseason. We've seen that. Their superstar, Jason Tatum, a lot of people calling the guy a choker. They went through all of that. There was talk. Think about this, guys. The Boston Celtics, one of those dominant teams in the NBA over the last 3 years. People are talking about doing what? Breaking up the backcourt of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Breaking those 2 guys up. Not really backcourt, but trading one of those players. So what I'm saying is this. Let us not be delusional. Let us look and see a team like the Celtics and see what the possibilities are. And you can say what you want about, they're not compatible. You can't compare them. Sure you can. You can compare the situation. You got 2 superstars in your backcourt. To me, if you made this investment, you've given up, I think, 3 first-round picks to get DeJounte here. You leveraged this deal to keep Trey here because you felt that he would be better marketability. I think part of it was that for this Atlanta area. And to some degree, that's true. Okay, great. You've done that. And here's what I'm saying. It's like we forget to some degree it has worked out. You've gotten to the Eastern Conference Finals. You've had some exciting runs in the playoffs. But guys and girls, this idea that, you just move a couple players around, and all of a sudden you're contending for a championship every year, it doesn't work that way. I'll give you another example. The Oklahoma City Thunder had on their team 3 guys that are future Hall of Famers, and they won Ugats. I think they got to the NBA Finals one time. 3 guys on their teams that individually, each guy either was or a top contender for MVP of the league. They all were on the team at the same time. Oklahoma City Thunder. They didn't win a chip. And they finally had to break up the team. But at the end of the day, they didn't win anything. So what am I saying? You do the best you can with what you have, boys and girls. And hopefully the stars will align and you will find a way to win a championship. But this idea that you're going to just move a couple of guys around and voila, you have a championship, Sally Charlie. It doesn't work that way. But so my question again goes back to the original question. Do you think that in fact the Alex Saar, a guy who many people say outside the guy from the from the Atlantic, do you think Alex Saar is coming to Atlanta? I'm gonna let you do this. I'm going to get ready to take a break, and then I'm going to let you guys hear. Hopefully, I can cue this up. It was a clip of the press conference where people asked Alex Saar, "Hey, dude, you didn't try out or you didn't do anything with not the Falcons, the Hawks?" Yeah, I got a lot of heat and drama. A lot of people say, "What's up with that? He didn't even work out for the team." And they asked him the question. And if you want to hear the answer, you got to keep it locked right here on the Real Talk Sports Show. We're going to take a quick little break, and then we'll be back and listen to Alex Saar. We'll also get a little listen to let you guys see something pretty cool that I saw at the Gateway Arena during the halftime break of the Atlanta Dream versus the New York Liberty, one of the best teams in the league. But in order for you guys to see that, you have to stay locked in to the Real Talk Sports Show. We'll be back in just a moment after the break. So don't go nowhere. We shall return in just a momento. Keep it locked right here for more. Thank you.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our #1 priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. Congratulations. What do you think? Is it worth the wait, buddy?
I love it. I can't wait to get on the road with it.
Listen, man, thank you very much, and congratulations to you. Appreciate your business.
Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate your business.
Thank you, Ron. That was my good buddy, Ron, who had gotten a Raptor from me. And ironically, he just traded that Raptor in on a King Ranch F-150. We got him a great deal, and he was able to do that. So now that goes back to you and yours. If you, in fact, are looking for a new vehicle for yourself, for your business, or a family member, remember, you can call me. Yes, that's right. The Minister Acts has a real job selling vehicles, primarily to companies, but I'll be available for you. hit me up, 678-410-9833. You can send me an email to the sports show email and just say, hey, look, I saw you on and I want to, get a car from you. And I will tell you this, it works. I had a young lady, matter of fact, let me do this before I go rambling on. There is a beautiful lady inside the green room. I can see her right now, and I'm going to bring her on. You know, guys, she is one of the most beautiful women in sports talk radio or TV. And after a 1 week hiatus, she is back. We simply call her the queen. Miss Tree Dolman is back in the building. Welcome back.
Hi, Jonathan. Hi, everybody. After my 1 week hiatus, huh?
I'm your hype man. Hype. Because listen, when you don't come on, people be feeling some kind of way.
Yes.
They're all sideways.
Sorry.
And then where's Tree? Where's it go? People call. Listen,
I feel some kind of way when I don't come on.
Miss Donna calls me.
Yeah.
Where's Tree? I'm like, okay, she's here. She didn't go anywhere. It's all good. She'll be back.
Yeah.
Sometime we have to go cover the Hawks. So anyway.
Yeah. But today we had our NFL Alumni Georgia chapter golf tournament. And so I was ripping and running around doing that. And we had a good turnout. So we had fun, but I'm exhausted. So after this show, I'm hopping in the shower, hopping in the bed. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. But I'm so happy to be here. I'm sorry for popping on late. Like I say, I was planning on coming on at 8. Just so much going on. So please forgive me. But I'm so happy to be here. I missed you guys.
See, I should have been hanging out with you doing this, putting my shades on the golf course, having fun. Because, I try to attend it every year, but this year I just couldn't. My schedule's all whacked. I had to work. I was the only guy there, so I had to make it do what it do. But I'm sure you guys had a good time. And, of course, for a good cause. Those guys are always doing good stuff. So,
yes, definitely had a great time. A lot of players came back. We had a lot of golfers. It was fun. We have our team that's going to the Super Bowl of golf in New Orleans to represent Georgia. And hopefully they come back with the Super Bowl of golf ring.
now that would be pretty cool. That would be really nice to have them come on back and say we knocked it down. And now, do I understand that the Georgia chapters are one of the biggest chapters in the country? That's what I heard a while back. Is that still true?
That is correct. The Georgia chapter is the largest NFL alumni chapter in the United States. So we have the most members and the most players in the Georgia chapter. So that is true. You are correct. We are the largest chapter.
Yeah, so many guys have moved here after their careers. A lot of guys, which I didn't realize until I started going to different events and awards. A lot of guys actually are originally from here. So, it's just cool stuff to see that and to see these guys kind of representing. Speaking of representing, I was talking to people earlier. I'm sure you heard this whole conundrum with the Hawks having the first pick, the idea of the number one pick on a lot of people's boards not even working out for the Hawks. So obviously a lot of people are thinking he doesn't want to play for us. His agent happened to be the same agent who is the agent for Al Horford. And of course, those people who are Hawk fans know that although Al is one of the great all-time Hawks, his tenure here ended kind of badly with his family saying some things and the Hawks saying some things and the fans booing him originally. So, it was, Yeah, so when Al left, his dad kind of said, well, we're glad we're going to Boston where we have real fans, where he can really be appreciated. And of course, Atlanta fans didn't like that. And people were saying good riddance. Yeah, it didn't. And well, of course, now the last time he's a bit of tension. And when I went on social media, a lot of people feel some kind of way. Yeah. But
I will say this. His dad wasn't lying. Okay. At that time, we all know I was talking about it with the Hawks and with the Falcons. The fans just really weren't supporting. It wasn't until recently where the Hawks were doing decent, making the playoffs and things of that nature, and where they had the push on belief that the fans were still coming out. But we know that back when Al Horford was playing here, the fans weren't really just showing up when I felt like they should have. So I can't blame the father, really. I mean, they are real fans, but I just think that the Hawks fans are fair weather fans. I think that with the Falcons as well. It's like when they're winning, we'll go and we'll cheer them on. But when they lose, they don't show up. So I won't say that they're not real fans, but I just think that they're fair weather fans. They could be more loyal.
I had to put my shades on that one, boys.
I see you got the shades on.
She said, yeah, them old fickle fans from the Falcons and the Hawks. Well, let's take a listen here. I think I have this clip. Let's take a listen, if I can, to the young man himself. I believe I have that clip. Let's see if I can roll it. Here we go. That's not it. Okay, let's see if we'll try again. We got a lot going on here. Let's try one more shot here, see if we can get Mr. Alex Saar and his comments when he was asked, hey, how come you didn't, try out for the Hawks? Let's see if we can grab that here. Let's see if we finally can get this. All right, while we're waiting, I will do this. I saw something, Tree, that I said makes me have hope I can continue on and hopefully do some great things in my latter years. This is the over 40 Double Dutch Jump Club that came out during the halftime of the game of the Dream versus New York Liberty. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know this. Each of the ladies have numbers on their backs, and I'll tell you what those numbers represent in just a moment. Here you go. See, over 40 Double Dutch Club getting down during halftime.
If you are a woman over 40, please come and join us at 40+WDutchClub.org. Now we're going to do a little 3-1-1. We got CK, 2, Sherry, 3,
Okay. So I don't know if you guys saw those numbers on the back of their jerseys. You saw numbers like 53 and 64 and 46 and so forth and so on. Those numbers represented the ages of each one of those women.
That's what I figured it was. Okay.
So if you notice on that last Double Dutch, the lady wore a 6'4", 64 years old, and out there handling her business pretty good. So that gives me hope. I told him, I said, you have proved the fact that I knew already that baby boomers, all of us are in the Peter Pan generation. We just believe that we're never going to get old.
Hey. Solid how you act.
No, you're right. And so, like I said, I was excited to see that. Just, really good to see those young ladies out there kind of handling their business and giving me kind of some pause to say, okay, man, you can do it. You can go out there and I don't know if I can double Dutch, but I certainly can go out here and move around. Hopefully, you know what I want to play? Pickleball. Everybody keeps telling me that pickleball is like this like really great thing. You don't have to overexert yourself. And so I'm thinking that I might want to try that. See if I can.
I hear a lot of people that play, they love it. I've never played it, but a lot of people do love it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So hopefully I can get out there and do my thing, and we'll see what we can do. I can't seem to get this clip up from Alex Saar. I'm not sure where it's disappeared to, somewhere in my great files, but nevertheless, he answered the way you should. He basically said, look, at the end of the day, I'm not going to get into where I worked out, yay or nay. He said, I got a team. He said, basically, I had a particular strategy. I followed that strategy, and that's pretty much it. They also asked him, hey, do you want to be a number one pick? And again, he kind of had a really neutral answer. He said, well, he said, as a competitor, everybody wants to be number one. He said, but yeah, I just want to go somewhere where I can win. And he said, I think my skill sets can help any team. Because they try to ask him, hey, do you want to play for Atlanta? You want to play for Washington? So he was very non-committal, but I will say he didn't seem to be too excited. The facial expression didn't seem to have any real excitement when they mentioned Atlanta.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So now, who do you think, Tree? Like I said, they're talking about this draft being kind of a poor man's draft. Is there anybody that you've heard about or anybody that has kind of cost your eyeballs or heard about that you said, you know what, I wouldn't mind getting this guy, whether it be Alex Saar, whether it be this other guy they're talking about, Richard Shea, who's supposed to be this, devastating 6'8" swingman scorer. Any of these guys have you heard about that you think, I think that'll work?
Yeah, honestly, I just don't know. I haven't been watching the guys play, so I'm not really sure of their skill set. I know last year when I was watching the draft, I actually had seen quite a few of the players. So I was very familiar with their game and the assets that they brought, how they played defense, how they played offense. And this year, I haven't seen any of the players, so I'm not really sure what they bring to the table. But what about you? Are there certain players that you think would be a good fit?
I mean, for me, I just think that the Hawks need size. I mean, I've been saying the last couple of years. I just think they need some bigs. Now, like I said again, everybody's just not that gung ho. They talk about the kid out of UConn. They think that he could be a possibility, but not at one. They're thinking that at best he would be maybe ranked somewhere in the second half, like between 6 to 12.
Yeah.
The kid from Purdue, I liked him. Big Zach,
Wait,
who's
the
big.
really tall one?
Yeah, the guy 7'4". I kind of liked him, but people
Okay. I like
that.
him.
But a lot of people said that Zach Edey. They said, at the end of the day, they think that he's too slow
Yeah,
for the NBA game. A lot of people think that not only is he slow, but they think that he would really have a problem being able to do any kind of switching at all. They said because his foot movement is so slow that any guy outside of a Jokic type center would just blow right by him. Now, all that being said, I'm like, okay, well, you can't. I mean, I think you can coach size. I think that there's sometimes you can kind of work with a guy and kind of get him in a position where you maybe run a little bit more zone. So I like the idea of someone like that, but again, not at one. And the kid from UConn, not bad either. The only problem is with the kid from UConn, they said his foul shooting is terrible. He shoots like 55% from the line.
That's something you can work on. You can work on foul shots. Obviously, he's not getting enough practice in the right way. So he needs somebody to work on his form, correct his form, and then he just needs to put up thousands of shots. But as far as the player from Purdue, you can teach size, but you do have to have athleticism. And I know you say you can play zones, which yes, you can. But come on, if you're playing in the NBA, everybody needs to know how to play man-to-man. You may not play man-to-man all the time, but everybody needs to be able to play man-to-man. Defense is what wins championships.
Yeah,
I think he deserves a shot.
Yeah, maybe like I say again, it depends on when they could pick him up. Now, maybe if it's a situation where they could wait to the second round, maybe, and pick him up. But like I said, 7'4", and I think he's 260, 270.
Yeah,
I'm like, hey, that's a lot of meat in that paint.
I thought he played well in the finals with the big dance.
Oh, he did too.
Yeah,
I thought he did too.
Very well. He showed out actually.
Yeah, I thought the guy played very well. So I'm like, okay, well, he played well against top caliber competition. Certainly he had to square up against the young man from UConn. He seemed like he held his own all right. So to me, either one of those two guys, I would be okay with. Like you said, I don't know necessarily at one. I'm thinking maybe they could find some kind of way to package up the number one pick and trade back. I'm not sure. But let's just take a look at ESPN, and these are their top 10 prospects.
Okay.
Two of these guys are French. Zachary Lissachet. He's the guy I was telling people about earlier, 6'8" swing man.
I saw them talking earlier.
Right. You saw him, right? So, I mean, they say that he could be like, what's his name from Oklahoma City? Everybody calls him SGA. Georges Alexander. Averaged 32 points a game last year. Great scorer. Again, not in his first year, but they think that he can develop to be that type of scorer. And at 6'8", that's some good size. Number 2 prospect, ESPN top 10, Alex Saar, the guy I was just talking about, 7'1". They think he's a great rim protector, very fluid, but he is a little scrawny. And some people think he'd have to kind of put some weight on. Number 3, the big man I was talking about from UConn, Donovan Clingan. They think that he would be your number 3 prospect overall. Reed Shepherd, point guard or shooting guard from Kentucky. Obviously, the Hawks would not be drafting him. Mostas Buzilius from the G League at night can play power forward or small forward. Again, coming from the University of Connecticut Huskies, point guard Stefan Castle. A lot of people think that he's probably one of the best NBA ready guys. Again, the Hawks won't be looking at him. Dalton Connect, small forward from Tennessee. Rob Dillingham, a point guard from Kentucky. Tidjane, I'm sure that's wrong, Salam, power forward from France. And Nikolai Topic, point guard from the Red Star. That's the Adriatic League in Europe. So you can see it pretty guard heavy. A lot of guards.
Yeah.
which the Hawks don't need none of that.
Yeah, I
None of
guess
that.
that's interesting. Okay.
So the
I
top 10
mean,
guys.
we've
So,
heard
say it
that
again.
they're saying that this draft is not the best draft and the talent is not great. But just hearing how many players that are in the top 10 that aren't even from our country is interesting.
Yeah, so I was talking to a guy about this at work, and he said the same thing. He said it's getting to the point now where you have a situation where many of your top players, both in the league and coming in, are European. They're not American. And of course, you had to at some point, I don't know what to say to this level, but you had to expect the impact because of what happened with the Dream Team. Once they went out and really brought the NBA style around the world, the rest of the world wanted to play too.
Oh yeah, listen, France and Spain. I mean, we can call out the teams that give us competition every Olympics, and I love watching it. And France, they're determined to beat us.
Well,
They
yeah,
are determined to beat us, but I still think that Team USA, we are the strongest and we're the best, and we're going to always win gold, in my opinion, even though I know we have not always won gold. The men, anyway, the women have. But yeah, France, they're definitely coming for us, in Spain. I think those are the two teams that give us the most competition whenever we play
every now
them.
and then the Australians give us a little run for our money too. Every now and then they do that.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, there's other teams, but I
Those
just
two,
think
you're right.
yeah, I think France and Spain are the two that's highest on the list. But don't get me wrong, yes, there's other teams that definitely give us a run for our money. It's not easy, and the players have great players. Let's be real. It's a lot of
No
great
doubt.
players in all of the teams, and a lot of these guys have been playing for their country since they were young. That's the difference between the United States and over in Europe. These kids are playing professional ball against men, and it's legal there. It's not legal here.
Yeah, I mean, 15, 16 years old, these guys are playing, and you know that you're ahead of the curve when you can do that. So there's no doubt about it. All right, guys, we'll take our one last break for the evening, and then I think somewhere in the green room, a champion is waiting to join us. All right, you're watching the Real Talk Sports Show. Keep it locked right here for more. We'll be back.
Looking for a vehicle? Come to Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We're a family-owned dealership that's been serving the Atlanta area for over 40 years, offering an unbeatable selection of new Fords, Lincolns, and pre-owned vehicles. Enjoy our exceptional customer service and great financing options tailored just for you. Visit us at 6790 Mount Zion Boulevard in Morrow, Georgia, located just 20 minutes from downtown Atlanta. Call us at 67.
This is Patrick Willis, and this is Real Talk Sports.
There's a guy, linebacker from out of San Francisco, a guy that was a dominant player in his day. Could be, if everything falls right, potentially a future Hall of Famer. We shall see. But I tell you one thing, we got a Hall of Famer with us right now. We don't have to wait at all. You know what I'm talking about, guys. He is two-time Super Bowl champion, National Black College Alumni Hall of Famer, first ever Carolina Panthers defensive draft selection. And he is now a fitness guru who is unmatched. I'm talking about the one and only Tyrone Poole is in the building. Tyrone, sir, welcome back.
Hey, Jonathan. Hey, Miss Tree. Everybody watching and listening. Hope everybody's doing well.
Hey, Tyrone.
Hey.
What's going on, sir? Ladies and gentlemen, you can see that close of that backdrop there kind of reminds you of what has transpired over the weekend with the great tributes to the Negro Leagues. And, of course, we have to give our condolences to the family and former teammates and friends of the late, great Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, who passed on just a few days before he was going to be honored in Birmingham at that Negro League game. So, yeah, big shout out to him. You know, it's ironic. It's like crazy. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, right before the All-Star game when they're going to honor Hank Aaron, he passed away. And then here this fast forward, the same thing going on Willie Mays. So just sad that neither one of those gentlemen were able to live long enough to see those great honors. But certainly anybody had a chance to watch either of those guys saw, some great, great, great baseball. And then, of course, we had the passing in the NBA of another guy, the man who's on the logo, Jerry West, gone as well. So we've lost a lot lot of people. And before them, Bill Walton. So a lot of guys I grew up watching and admiring are leaving us left and right. But we all have to cross that path. But again, our condolences to all the remaining family members and former teammates and friends, no doubt. Well, Tyrone, I was talking to Tree before you came on about the Hawks and who they should draft, and the idea that a guy that was pretty high on everybody's board, rumors running around that he was like, I don't want to play for the Hawks. Your thoughts? Do you have any of these players? I listed some top 10, most of them European. Any guys that you heard about or seen that you thought, hey, this would be a good fit for the Hawks to pick either at 1 or to trade back and maybe get them a little bit later in the draft?
Be honest with you, Jonathan, I think the Hawks pretty much know what they need. When it comes to players, I'm pretty sure they've scouted. And if I'm the Hawks, I'm trying to do like every professional team does. You examine your weaknesses, you examine your strengths, and you go out and you draft accordingly. Now, if you got a player who is a can't miss player, then you go get that guy. But other than that, you draft according to your weaknesses.
So you're saying, like I was saying, I think Tree was saying the same thing to some degree. We need a big man. I mean, that to me is the one thing the Hawks have been missing throughout this trade era is they need a big man. They need somebody that can be a rim defender, somebody that can really be effective against other big men. So
yeah, we also need a sharp shooter. I mean, we have some really good shooters, but we need someone who is money when they shoot the 3-point. That's another thing that I think we're missing. We have great players, and when they're on, they're hot, but we need somebody who's hot consistently.
Somebody can really actually shoot from the outside. Well, hopefully, like I say again, they can pick up somebody. I mean, because there seems to be people out there. I mean, I just anyway. Like you said, I think it should be a big man. I think they should pick up one of the big men, whether they trade back or not to get them. I don't care how they do it, but they need some bigs in the big spot.
Yeah.
So,
Tyrone, I was looking for you today.
Yeah,
you were coming to the tournament.
Yeah, Tree. Most of them dudes, man. I still got kids that are still in high school running track and need for me to be there to train them. So, sometimes I feel
you're doing more important things.
Yeah, exactly. So I just coming back from the track with my daughter. So I said, you know what? Let me jump in and see if I can catch Jonathan, spend a little time with Jonathan. I had a choice either to not show up and Jonathan and Tree will get through it, or to say, you know what? I'm going to go on and I'm going to support Jonathan, even though I came from the track, haven't even had my recovery meal, but I came to try to jump on the show and give a little feedback. So, but no, I'm pretty sure y'all had a good time, Tree. So the one what they say, one monkey don't stop a show. So I'm pretty sure y'all showed out.
Yeah, it was a good time, but it would have been better if you were there. So I was looking for you, hoping that you showed up, but I get it. Your children come first. You have more important things to do.
I know, right? But I will say this about the Hawks in basketball, pretty much any sport, in particularly basketball. I take football as a parallel comparison. I think if I was an owner or coach, I would try to build my team where I can have different pieces to go on the court, right? Just like in football, right? If we get down to the goal line, we take out, the 3 to 4 wide receivers and we put in, 3 tight ends, we put in the big guys, right? When we need to get a lot of yards, we take out the big guys, we put the small, faster guys in. So I think if you can build your team like that, if in a perfect world where you can just match up, if we want to go big, we can go big, all right? If we want to go small, then we can go small. So I'm like, if you could build an ideal basketball team, that's how I would build my team. I could just interchange, right? Let's go small, speed up the pace, right? Let's go big, let's slow it down, play a half court game. That's just me.
Yeah, you need some balance. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. Well, I want to do this. I do want to ask you this question, Tree. The last week has been phenomenal as far as it seems like every single game the WNBA is breaking records in terms of attendance, in terms of fan engagement. They just announced, I was listening to one of the podcasts, and they said for the first time that the average valuation of each team is over $100 million. Which is, people say, oh, the pro team that work billion. It doesn't matter. They've broken a new standard there. And they also talked about the games that Caitlin Clark has played in, and they are averaging almost double the league average. She's up around 14, 15,000, league average of 7,000. And we also want to give a big shout out to Angel Reese because the game she's playing in, they're averaging almost 11,000. So they are doing quite well. Let's take a little clip. I think we have a little clip of Caitlin Clark talking when she was here in Atlanta. Let's see if we can pull that clip up.
Cheering against us, and that certainly helps. And for me, a lot of that was the same in college, other than the IU fans. They were pretty crazy. So, I mean, it definitely adds an added emotion when there's a lot of people cheering against you, but it's the same when there's a lot of people cheering for you. Like, I think that's energy that you can just feed off of, whether we're here in Atlanta and there's people, cheering, you can just feel it, or whether we're on our home court. Those are, that's something you always want, but also at the same time, like, you want to perform for them, and you want to be great for them, and, a lot of people spend a lot of time and money to come here and watch our team and enjoy this experience. So I think, because we've been playing great basketball, a lot of them are probably going to continue to come back, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, she was asked about how she felt coming to Atlanta and hearing a lot of people basically here in Atlanta and other stadiums cheering for her, even though she's the opposing team. And she said something interesting. She's already picked up the fact, hey, I'm a pro, and obviously she wants her team to win. But she said, people come here to watch us play, and watch us play well. And to her credit, she did everything she could. She dished the ball. She didn't try to be a ball hog, but she was 4 of 8 from downtown, and she had a couple of like NBA plus Trae Young bombs. So no doubt she understands that, hey, I got to do a little entertainment side without hurting the team. So I guess my question to both of you guys are, with all this momentum, how can they kind of keep the ball moving and kind of cash in this momentum? So Trey, I'll ask you first. What do you think they need to do, or how can they kind of keep this going?
Well, I first want to say that yesterday, if anybody watched the game between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever, where Caitlin Clark was playing against Angel Reese, if you missed that game, oh my goodness, you just missed an amazing game, because the Indiana Fever were leading the Chicago Sky most of the game, but Chicago came back and won. And I say all of this to say that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are having phenomenal seasons. Angel Reese had a personal record in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark played great and did phenomenal. And I believe the game was a sellout game, and they were playing in Chicago. But what I think, to answer your question, is, first of all, I want to say that with everything that's happening this season, I'm hoping that this season they will not only break even, but also have a profit with all of the success that they're having. Because for those who don't know, the WNBA has always been in the red. They've never broke even, and they've never made a profit. So I'm hoping that this year, with everything that is happening, that they can capitalize on that. And what I think that they need to do to continue what's going on is just continue to do what they're doing. They're showing more games on television. They're having more ads with the WNBA players. They are just spotlighting them more because the fans want to see them. I think they should continue moving games to larger arenas, because that will help bring in more ticket sales. I think that they should just continue to open up avenues and streams where it just continues to make money, but also helps highlight the players and let the fans be a part of it. Because let's be honest, all of this is happening because of the fans, and it's happening because of what they started in college. It started from the college game. So I'm very happy. Kudos to the WNBA. Can't wait to see the numbers this year. And like I say, I hope that they actually make a profit. And I think that they will, from everything that's happening with the sales and the jerseys.
Tyron, what do you think the ladies need to do to kind of keep this ball moving with the momentum they have so far?
Well, I think what they need to do, they need to start planting seeds, right? When I say planting seeds, need to go back and have the WNBA current stars go to these AAU games and these girls AAU games, and they need to start planting the seed there to keep the fire going there, because to be honest with you, Caitlin and Reese, they're going to one day get old, right? And who's the next person coming up that they're grooming? So if I'm a marketing person, I'm in the WNBA, I'm going, and I just pulled up some of these AAU girls, ESPN Top 100. You know, there's a girl, Aaliyah Chavez. She's graded at 98. She's a point guard, 5'11", goes to high school in Texas. And then you have another girl, Sienna Betts. She's graded at 98. She is committed to UCLA, a forward, 6'4", Grandview High School, Colorado. So if I'm the WNBA, okay, you got to have a 360 vision, right? Not just a 90 degree. I understand 90 degree, we need to get funding and raise up the salaries of the current NBA players. But you know what? If you get that momentum now, how are you going to keep it going? You got to start going and putting that label on the next young lady that's coming up that can carry that torch. You know, a la the NBA, they did Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. And what Larry Bird and Magic Johnson did, they said, okay, we're going to pass, the NBA said, let's pass the baton to Michael Jordan. Right. So who's that next girl coming up that the WNBA is eyeing, that they, giving that young lady or those young ladies all of the attention now so they can keep that momentum going? That's what I say about it.
Both of those things they're spot on. I think for me, I just think they need to continue to have the types of games like they had yesterday. That Sky and Fever game, must-see TV. Sky coming from behind, outscoring the Fever by 9 in the final quarter to win by a hair, 87-88. And here's the other key about that game, which made it so compelling. What they say, the stars come out at night. Well, you got to see everybody do their thing. Let's look at this lineup here. So all the ladies that you know about, Aaliyah Boston for the Fever, 18.7 rebounds. You have this new burgeoning backcourt duo of Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. Mitchell dropped 24, and Caitlin Clark showing that she can switch, dish and switch. 17 points, 13 assists for Caitlin Clark. And it was also buoyed by Miss Nylisa Smith that had 12 points. But the bottom line is that backcourt, 41 points for Mitchell and Caitlin Clark. And on the other side of the Sky, same thing. You got just Camila Cardozo, the double-double, 16 and 10. Angel Reese having her best game as a pro, 25 points, 16 rebounds. And Kennedy Carter, 23.6 rebounds. So all the key stars that you wanted to see all balled out. And if they can have games like that, and then you have a couple of super teams like you have the Las Vegas Aces, you have, the New York Liberty, where I saw them in person. I'm sure I'm pronouncing her name wrong, but Ionescu, the one that had the 3-point competition with Steph Curry, crossover and bang. So, yeah, if they can keep making it do that way, and like you said, Tyrone, begin to bring up the younger squad, they could have something, because people want to see him play. Yeah. I was there at State Farm, 17-5, sold out. Place was rocking. It was like I was at a Hawks playoff game.
Well, listen, we had this conversation. I don't understand why it took them so long to move the game to State Farm Arena, but I was happy that they finally did it. It was just like,
yeah, it's funny you mentioned. I meant to ask I think she's the president of the team. She was formerly with the Falcons. That's see, why am I drawing a blank? Hope you're not watching this. You say, brother, I just talked to you the other day. But anyway, in speaking to her, I should have asked her why it kind of took that long to kind of do it, because everybody else just right out the rip. They just say, hey, we're going to move it to the next largest stadium. And Atlanta was like, no, we're not going to do it. Like, why would you want to do that?
Yeah, I was just like, come on, Atlanta. Like, come on. But then they finally got smart. So I was like, hey, light bulb came on. Yay.
Right.
And we see, like they said, it paid off, right? So
right.
Hey,
I didn't realize this. Some of the young ladies from the Dream, like one girl said, this is the first time I've ever been to State Farm. She had never been inside the stadium at all, even to watch a Hawk game. She said, it's the first time I've been in there. And just like watching their eyes and their faces, they were just thrilled to be there. So anyway, hopefully they can find more reasons to do it. It would take a deep run into the playoffs But I did ask, would the Dream consider changing if they got a deep run in the playoffs? And the answer was yes. They said they don't know if they can necessarily go to State Farm, maybe a scheduling situation, but they are looking at other arenas to kind of play. We're going to be bigger. Mm-hmm.
All right. What were you saying, Tyrone?
I got a tip for you, Jonathan. I'm gonna give you, like they talk about stocks, right? I'm gonna give you a stock tip, so you don't be like Stephen A. Smith, right?
Okay.
Don't get called out like Stephen A. Smith. There's a girl at Holy Innocents. She's going to Stanford. She's a point guard, 5'10", Holy Innocents. Haley Swan. If I'm you, I know the basketball season is over, but I would just try to get an interview with her she's ranked 10th in the ESPN top 100. So just if I am a person to play stocks, that way when she make it, she gonna remember you and she'll give you all those free interviews. So Haley Swan at Holy Innocent, she's committed to Stanford. You know, Stanford have a pretty good basketball program. So just giving you a tip there, Jonathan.
Tyrone, I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm gonna try to cash in some chips on the holiday weekend when the Chicago Sky returned to town, because exactly what you just mentioned happened about a decade ago, literally right down the road from where they play their games. I had an opportunity to interview a young lady who's on the Sky, as she had won the National Naismith High School Basketball Player of the Year. Her mom is still right here in Atlanta. And I'm talking about Diamond DeShields. So hopefully she'll let me grant her interview and say, I remember 8-9 years before when you were just a high schooler and you were player of the year. And of course, her story is compelling because she's come back from injury, and she played overseas for a while. So yeah, hopefully I'm gonna tell her. Tyrone said I can cash in my stock now.
There you go. See, you gotta get them to say, just like you got all these other guys, Tim Tebow, and them saying, hey, this is Real Talk Sports. That's where you start, man. You start with them young. Say, hey, just say Haley Swan. This is Haley Swan, and you're watching Real Talk Sports. Man, they'd love to do it. They'd love to do it right now. But if you wait too late, it's gonna cost you, Jonathan. It's going to cost you about $1,000 per second. The NIL deals are going up, baby.
There it is, guys. That's the tip. Tyler, let me flash on the screen. I'm sure I'm spelling the name wrong, but there it is. Do I have the name right? Haley Swan? I probably got it wrong, right?
Haley is H-A. Yeah, you messed it up. It's H-A-I-L, Hale, Lee, E-E, H-A-I-L-E-E-S, W-A-I-N.
All right. Well, I'll save that for next week. We won't flash it on the screen, but we will reach out to folks at Holy Innocent, because you know what? When the Lord gets you a tip, you either follow through so you can cash it in. We're speaking about cashing in, guys. We're about ready to wrap it up. But before we go, we want to make sure you guys all know how to find out more about our guest and co-host. So, Mr. Tyrone Poole, the guy who gets the best tips around, the floor is yours.
Jonathan, appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity. Keep doing what you're doing. And Miss Tree, keep doing what you're doing. And everybody keep watching Real Talk Sports. Tyrone Poole, 38, all social media. Tyrone Poole, 38. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Miss Tree.
Thanks, Tyrone.
Bye, Tyrone.
I gotta ask Miss Tree, what did you hit today? What did you swing? Did you go 68 or did you go 108?
Believe it or not, Tyrone, I was supposed to golf today, but there was so much work to do that I just had to say, you know what? I need to do work and make things happen. So I didn't even bring the clubs out of the car. I was just running around the whole day.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know.
I thought you were gonna get on your knees and do them like Tiger Woods did, do the long ball drive, and Tiger let them guys swing from their feet. Then Tiger said, "Hold on, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get on my knees." And Tiger hit that thing like this.
I saw it. That was so crazy. The guy hit the ball 300 yards from his knees. That was insane.
Yes. And I took a picture. I took a picture where he took that shot.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was at Firestone.
Yeah, he's a bad boy. And I can tell you something. Everybody better look out for Charlie. because he's qualified for the U.S. Amateur at 16, just like his dad. So,
like father, like son.
like son, you might have something there. Tyrone, we thank you, sir.
I know we gotta go, but what about Quincy Wilson, man? That kid, 16 years old, 400 meters, man. He running a 44.5, man, at 16 years old.
Wow.
Quincy Wilson. Oh yeah, man. He made it. He made it all the way to the finals. He came in 6th place in the Olympic.
That was the one that was winning the most of the race, and at the end they came and beat him, right?
You know what? No, I think the grown men just took advantage of him in the finals tree, but it might have been. But Quincy Wilson, man, I'm like, this kid is 16. Well, some people say he's 15. He's gonna turn 16, but I think he's 16. Kid is 16 years old, still in high school, ran a 44.5, man. He went to the finals now. This is the Olympics final. So this kid got, man, keep your eyes on him. Keep your eyes.
Yeah.
Good news. You know, the Olympics are going to be in 2028 in L.A., right here on his home turf. So we'll keep an eye on that young man. Tyrone Poole is always on the scene. And see, now I know, Tyrone, you play football, but your real love is track and field, sir.
Oh, I love track.
Yeah.
I won't doubt it. I love track. Track is the only sport that I know other than boxing and golf. I would say boxing, golf, track and field, maybe a couple other sports out there. Wrestling, amateur wrestling, I would say. You get out of it what you put into it. Football, you know what? It's a team sport. Basketball, one person can help the team win. But when you run in track, it's you, and what you put in is what you're going to get out.
It is, boys. And you know the best way to get what you put in and get out, you know how to do it. You got to work that thing.
There you go.
Work that thing.
All right,
work that thing, boys. Work that thing.
All right.
There it is. Remember, guys, if you need a speaker, hit up Tyrone Poole. There he is right there. Ultimate Success, Tyrone Poole, 38, all social media.
All right. You guys be good.
Bye, Tyrone.
All right. Bye, Treat.
Miss Treat Dolman, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching. Missed you guys last week. You can find me on social media at Purple Diva 13, as well as Ms. America International 2022. And just stay tuned. I know you guys, I say it all the time because I always have something going on, but we do have some good things coming up. So stay tuned to my social media.
The Queen has spoken. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys get out of here. Like I said, you can follow me and the show. Please follow the show, Real Talk Sports, the number 7. And if you are on YouTube, please subscribe. It's at Real Talk Sports 7. Just hit that and then hit the bell, and it'll let you know when we got something going on. I'm always trying to put up little shorts and videos and things, so please do that. But really more important than that, I'm going to ask you to please get to know God. And the way you do that is real easy. Number 1, you repent of your sins, and number 2, that you believe that Jesus came here, died for your sins, and rose from the dead. If you do, 2 great things happen. Number 1, become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number 2, you become an adopted child of God with all the rights therein. That means you can now go to God like a heavenly parent, asking for anything you need or desire, and according to his will, he'll give it to you. And then, more importantly, when you die, to go to that happy place called heaven, where there's none of the following: no pain, no pandemic, no bad people anywhere. It's always bright because the glory of God illuminates the place so it never gets dark. You never get sick. You never get old. You never die. You now get a chance to see God, the creator of the universe, face to face, Jesus Christ face to face, and all the people the Bible's read about, all the people of love. You'll be there forever and a day. And you avoid that nasty place called hell, where all the things I just mentioned won't be there. Instead, it's just the opposite. It's dark, it's dreary, it's fiery, it's painful, and you are stuck with the devil and all his demonic hosts and all the most evil people ever to walk the earth. And you're cut off from heaven forever and a day. I don't know about you, but I like option number 1 instead of option number 2. All right, guys, until the next time we get back together again, you know how we end it. We simply say to you, God bless you, and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, whichever may apply. So long, and take care.